welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Linda McNamee, in for Phil Gallagher. Burlington will cover an FY18 school department deficit using the town's stabilization fund. On Wednesday evening, after a lengthy discussion, town meeting voted by a large majority but a relatively slim margin to allocate $699,926 from the stabilization fund to make up for the school deficit. The final vote was 92 in favor, 5 opposed, and 3 abstentions. It was a clear majority, but due to a state law on votes concerning covering a deficit during a special town meeting, the threshold was a 9/10 majority vote. Superintendent Eric Conti said there were a number of factors in the salary budget that led to the deficit. One was an overexpense on substitute teachers of $212,884 that came about from an unexpectedly high amount of maternity and paternity leaves. There was also an overexpense of $290,000 on tutors. Finally, Conti said there was a $198,000 overexpense on vacation buyouts and 2 employee settlements that were decided during the fiscal year. Settlements, he said, are unpredictable and are not accounted for when planning a budget. The big question of the evening was how to cover the deficit, and there were 3 possible funding options available. One was the stabilization fund. Another was appropriating the funds through the FY19 tax levy, and the third was to take the funds from the school department's FY19 budget. This option would negate the tax levy impact, but would have an adverse effect on the school's current year operation. Some town meeting members expressed frustration and anger about the situation.
It was just beyond an issue of, oops, we kind of misspent a few dollars. This isn't like I give my son $20, tell him he can only spend 15 and he spent 20. This is a staggering amount. And it goes beyond just it's a mistake. I know that in the private sector, there would be consequences for something like this. And I think one of the more infuriating parts to me as a taxpayer, and for a lot of residents, is that we have gone on for many, many, many years, and not only particularly for this town, as far as a municipal government, do it state or federal, and every single time something happens, no one's held accountable for the actions. I haven't heard that anyone's accountable for this action. Normally, someone would probably be fired. At the very least, they would tender their resignation.
There were some members who were more sympathetic to the school department leadership.
We have 3 categories. We have substitutes. That number went over by $200 and some odd thousand because Dr. Conti tells us there was an unexpected number of pregnancies. What are you going to do? You're going to not have the students have teachers. Is that what you want? You said teachers don't show up because they're pregnant or sick. You just don't have anybody there at all. Tutors, that was a mistake. But I wanted to point out that the money wasn't thrown in the garbage. Children were tutored. These are children who will not be tutored next year. Okay? If it was your kid who needed the help, who has dyslexia, you might want it. If you catch dyslexia early, you can fix it. If you don't, you have a kid who's in charge of the state for the rest of their life. Maybe they'll go to jail. The money wasn't thrown in the garbage. They made a mistake. They tutored too many children. Slap their hand. You want somebody to get fired? Fine.
There was also a lot of talk about what would happen if the town did not pay what it owed to the vendors who had completed services for the schools, but had not yet been reimbursed. Town accountant Paul Sagarino said those vendors would likely sue in court, and the town would be on the hook for not only its legal expenses, but possibly the vendors' legal fees as well. Second, the Department of Revenue would almost certainly force the town to raise the funds through taxes, impacting the property tax rate. Third, not covering a deficit would likely impact the town's standing in the eyes of accrediting agencies, putting Burlington's AAA bond rating in jeopardy. In the end, the article to use stabilization fund was approved. A project to redesign and renovate the former Sears location at the Burlington Mall got one step closer to becoming a reality on Monday night. After a long discussion, town meeting voted overwhelmingly to approve a home rule petition for 9 new liquor licenses, 5 all alcohol and 4 beer and wine licenses that will be site-specific to the Burlington Mall. The request must now go to the state legislature for approval. During the meeting, Jonathan Murphy, Executive Vice President of Leasing for Simon Properties Group, explained why he believed the Burlington Mall needed 9 new licenses. He said the entire first floor of the former Sears building was being transformed into an extension of the mall corridor, and that the former Sears tire and automotive building had been torn down and will be a mixed-use site. A big part of the plan is to bring in numerous family-friendly restaurants. Murphy said that more restaurants would create greater revenue at the mall and lead to an increase of intake of the meals tax for Burlington's coffers. He said Sears had been generating about $12 million per year, and he thinks the restaurants will generate $60 million, leading to an additional $450,000 annually in meals tax for the town. There were concerns raised about the number of liquor licenses being asked for. In a meeting before town meeting, the Burlington Board of Selectmen voted 2 in favor of the proposed and 3 against. Those who voted against said they thought 9 was too many and asked that Simon Properties lower the amount. Murphy argued that the number being requested is the number needed for the project to be a success. He said that in order to move forward, the mall needs to fill up at least 50% of the planned new spaces, and that could only be achieved at this time with a high number of restaurants and restaurant owners want to have licenses to serve. In the end, the town's legislative body voted overwhelmingly to support the proposal and send the request for additional licenses to the state. Burlington voters will go to the polls next April to decide if a top financial position in town should remain an elected official or become an appointed town employee. On Monday evening, town meeting voted to approve a warrant article that called for changing the treasurer tax collector seat to an appointed position. The idea of making the change was first floated in February after current treasurer tax collector Brian Curtin, who has been in the position for over 4 decades, announced his retirement. He has since withdrawn that announcement and said he will stay on until this matter is resolved and the transition of the town administrator and town accountant seats is complete. Selectman Bob Hogan said at the time that he felt the position had grown too complicated over Curtin's tenure to have it be in the hands of someone who was more popular than qualified. He pointed out that the town's budget had grown from $20 million to about $147 million during the last 42 years, and there are more rules and regulations. During town meeting, the question of whether the town could get a qualified candidate through the election process was a hot topic. Town meeting member Sally Willard said that in the 1970s, when Burlington decided to make the position elected, most towns made the same decision, but that many had changed course. In 2018, she said, more than 80% of towns now appoint the position. One person notably in favor of keeping the seat an elected position was Curtin himself. He argued that it is important for the position to have independence and autonomy when working with town leadership. He said part of his job is to invest the $140 million town budget based on requirements of Massachusetts laws, and also to borrow for all capital projects and to select a financial advisor for those bonds. Curtin also argued that he feels a Burlington resident would have more skin in the game, and that it is more important for the treasurer-collector to be beholden to voters rather than the administration. Curtin also addressed the issue of training. He said that whoever is elected must get a state certification which requires classroom learning and passing a test. In the end, town meeting voted in favor of the article to make the position one appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The issue will now be a ballot question during the April town election and must pass by a simple majority to become official. Burlington High School students were treated to a talk and drawing demonstration by artist Bren Bataclan this week. Bataclan, known for his practice of giving away paintings, spoke about his art, his characters, and his mission to spread joy. BNEWS director Rich Hosford went to learn more and has this look.
They say that true art is a form of giving of oneself, but this week Burlington High School was visited by an artist who goes to the next step and literally gives away his art to total strangers. Artist Bren Bataclan was at the school to give a talk to the whole student body and work with members of the Multicultural Club. He spoke about starting out as an artist after the dot-com crash left him without work in his chosen field. He also talked about his project of leaving pieces of art in public places for people to pick up for free on one condition.
I started to give away paintings because I grew up in San Francisco and I saw lots of street art, but I wasn't the type of kid in San Francisco who would vandalize or spray paint the wall. So about 15 years ago, after the open studios, I said, you know, I'm going to do my own street art, but a temporary version of it. So I painted them on canvases, and I attached a note saying, this painting is yours if you promise to smile at random people more often. And I would mostly prop them on park benches, and people could take them. So my goal is to just spread happiness, kindness, and smiles.
Most of Bren's characters are simple, creative creatures with expressive faces, devoid of noses, with his signature trademark of one large eye and one small one, inspired by his love of anime. They are also brightly colored and catch the eye of anyone who passes them on the street. He said he takes his characters and shares them with students to inspire them to create pieces of their own.
So my characters are really easy to draw, and so almost everyone feel empowered to draw as well. So when I give drawing workshops, because I'm going to give drawing workshop and painting workshops to a whole bunch of students here at this awesome high school, they will draw, and it's really easy, and it empowers them to just doodle and draw.
That inspiration is exactly what the art faculty was looking for, and they were excited about Bren's message.
So Bren was able to talk to all of the students in the entire school about his artwork and the importance of it and how he spreads kindness. And his mission is really sharing his art and being kind to others and giving away his artwork for a smile. So we have one of the essential questions of our high school is the power of one and how that can impact others. And I think Bren's a great example of that and ties in really well with our essential question.
I asked a couple of students for their impressions on the talk and the recreating of the characters.
I just really like it. It's relaxing and it's slowed down and a good way to spend time too with painting and stuff.
I think it's awesome. I don't paint a lot, but I'm enjoying it. It's really fun.
I like how simple they are, but show a lot of expression and stuff.
I think they're simple, but they're awesome. They look great.
Finally, Bren has an exhibit in the school's art gallery with paintings of a more serious nature dealing with an important and relevant topic.
I think it's for the diversity aspect of my message or speech. So this afternoon, part of the group that will draw and paint with me is the Multicultural Club. So I think most folks who have immigrated or most folks who are brown can relate to my Filipino-American experience. So I chose to use my style, which is kind of comic book related in this, because I want it to be really accessible. And at the same time, I don't just want these work to like be cute, and so it goes beyond my whimsical character. And I want folks to relate to most immigrants and most folks who care about folks who immigrated to this country.
From Burlington High School, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
Thank you, Rich. Burlington will soon have a new town accountant. On Monday night, the Board of Selectmen voted unanimously to approve a 3-year contract with John Denizio, the man the board chose to replace current town accountant Paul Sagarino during a meeting earlier this month. Sagarino is taking over as the town administrator position when John Petrin retires next year. This week, Sagarino town leadership is hoping to have Denizio in place as early as possible to help with the transition. Denizio was chosen from a total of 46 applications for the position. 7 of those applicants, Sagarino said, were considered very qualified, and 3 of them were interviewed by the committee formed to find Sagarino's replacement. On September 10th, the Board of Selectmen interviewed the 2 finalists, Denizio and Karen Barrett, and eventually chose Denizio. Denizio is leaving a job as the Chief Financial Officer for Arlington Public Schools, a position he's held since July of 2017. His work history also includes being the Director of Finance for Winchester Public Schools from 2009 until 2017, being the School Business Administrator for Salem Public Schools from 2007 to 2009, and a stint as the Deputy City Auditor for the City of Woburn from 2004 until 2007. Since his appointment, members of the Board of Selectmen said they have received positive feedback from residents for their choice. Arthur Murray Dance has been in Burlington for over 30 years, teaching all forms of dance from the cha-cha to the tango. Recently, they relocated to a new studio off of Middlesex Turnpike. BNews reporter Chris Flaherty put on his dancing shoes to check out the new location and what Arthur Murray has to offer.
For over 30 years, Arthur Murray Dance Studio has been teaching the Burlington area how to dance. Recently, the studio relocated to a new location on Middlesex Turnpike.
Arthur Murray Dance Studios is a franchise. We're in over 20 countries worldwide with over 200 studios, so we're part of a franchise. We've been in Burlington for about 30 years teaching the town of Burlington how to dance, and we just recently moved to this new location a few months ago.
As the town of Burlington continues to transform, Arthur Murray felt the need for change as well.
Well, you know, Burlington has changed a lot over the years, and so we just wanted a different, fresh, new location, and we were in the other space for 30 years, so just a fresh face and a new location with a little bit additional dance space, so we have a space for all of our awesome students. We want to be able to reach as many people with the love of dance as we possibly can, and we're passionate about showing people about how fun, quick, and easy it is to dance at Arthur Murray, and the hopes with the new location is to be able to reach as many people as we can.
Arthur Murray encourages anyone with a case of the jitterbug to come on down and cut a rug, regardless of your experience level.
Anybody that you see on the floor in the studio, their first lesson was with us, and they had no experience before they started. So at Arthur Murray, we specialize in making it fun, quick, and easy to learn how to dance. So you're not alone if you're nervous, but come on by and we'll make sure you feel comfortable and show you how fun and easy it is to learn to dance.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
Thank you, Chris. The Burlington Parks and Recreation Department held their first annual fitness festival on the town common. The event was a way for the community to check out all the fitness classes that the recreation and the town has to offer. BNews reporter Robert Paris was there and has this report.
It's time to burn some calories. This week, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department held their first annual fitness festival on the town common.
The Recreation Department puts on a lot of fitness programs throughout the year, and we wanted to develop a special event that showcased all of our fitness programs. So we decided to partner with a number of businesses here in town, and we have 3 sections of the common that are filled with fitness classes from 8 to 2 today, just showcasing our programs, but also the businesses in town and the fitness programs that they offer.
There were a wide variety of classes ranging from Zumba to Pound.
There is Zumba classes, there's CrossFit classes, we have a Pound class going on right now behind us, we have Zumba Gold, we have Bali X, and so a variety of fitness classes, but we also have some Pilates and yoga and bar classes as well.
Apart from the classes, there were multiple gym vendors for people to check out.
So 9 rounds, a 30-minute total body kickboxing workout. We have no class time, so we say you're always on time. The workout changes every single day, and the best part about it is you always have Bill and I or another instructor there to help guide and push you through the workout. We came here today, got invited to Burlington Fitness Festival, so we said, why not? We're under new ownership. I took over at the beginning of August, and so we're here kind of promoting our new look and our new feel.
So Revved Indoor Cycling is a boutique spin studio. We have a location on Burlington Mall Road, right next to Starbucks here in town. We also have 2 other locations in Dedham and Foxborough. And what we do are 45-minute indoor cycling classes. We ride to the beat of the music, and it's a great time.
I had the opportunity to talk to instructors and participants who took part in the fitness demos.
I did a 30-minute demo for a class called Pound with weighted drumsticks and lots of music and fun time.
So my name is Kristen. I'm the general manager at Club Pilates Burlington. So we're a Pilates studio, and what we did today was a mat-based class. So exercises that were all on the mat, focusing really on your core, full body workout. And then what we have in the studio is reformer-based. So think of the same mat-based exercises with your core, upper body, glutes, that full body, but using the equipment of the reformer, so everything's kind of amplified in that setting.
It's just sort of an interval training, so they had us doing squats and burpees and sprinting with the CrossFit.
Yep, we did some stretching at the beginning and the end too, so yeah.
Finally, take some time out of your day to get some fresh air and, most importantly, exercise.
We really hope that people realize that there's a variety of fitness opportunities for them, whether it's a chair yoga class or a pound class, a Zumba, a boot camp, whatever it might be. We hope that people really get an understanding that there's a lot to offer at the Parks and Recreation Department, and hope they check us out.
From the Town Common, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Robert, that looks really intense. Thank you. The public is invited to come in and learn more about fire safety while getting the opportunity to check out the Burlington Fire Department and some of its equipment. Fire Chief Steve Yatman and Fire Lieutenant Todd Ficociello are inviting all families and residents to attend an open house at the Burlington Fire Department as part of the National Fire Prevention Week programming in October. The open house will be held on Saturday, October 13th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. An invite states that the Burlington Fire Department open house event promises fun for all ages with plenty of vital safety tips that can keep your family safe in the event of a fire in your home. Papa Gino's will be offering free pizza and goodies, and Wegmans will be on hand with free snacks and beverages. Firefighters will demonstrate life-saving techniques and will show how the world-renowned Jaws of Life hydraulic rescue tool works. Children will also have the chance to climb aboard fire trucks and learn all about the tools and equipment used by a firefighter. The event is part of the National Fire Prevention Week that is running from October 7th through the 13th. This year's Fire Prevention Week campaign is Look, Listen, Learn, Be Aware. Fire can happen anywhere. It works to educate people about 3 ways they can reduce the likelihood of having a fire and how to escape safely if they have one. In a fire, every second counts, so it is important for members of the community to know what to do if there is a fire. Fire safety education isn't just for school children. This is a free event, and all are welcome. Blues and jazz guitarist Paul Seidel visits the Burlington Public Library and takes listeners through the music from the 20th century to the present with examples of the blues, origins in jazz, Latin, soul, and a little rock and roll. BNews reporter John Baez was there and has this report.
On Thursday, September 20th, the Burlington Public Library held a special presentation called Jazz and the Blues with musicians Paul Spidell and Steve Skopp, who gave a lesson on the history of American jazz and blues music with commentary and performance. Originally from Chicago, Illinois, Paul Spidell has been a working blues and jazz guitarist in Boston for over 25 years, with 9 albums featuring his original music, playing in various major clubs, and sharing the stage with familiar names such as Jay Giles and Muddy Waters. He is also a respected guitar instructor, teaching all facets of guitar privately for more than 3 decades. Paul Spidell has never been a stranger to music, and says his family was a big influence.
My mom was a church piano player, and she raised me on gospel music, and a lot of hillbilly, sort of ragtime Appalachian music. My dad's actually a United Methodist pastor, so I think the whole idea of being up front kind of appealed to me when I was a kid. I often thought that I kind of put the two together. So the history, actually, both my mom and dad were big influences there too, because they were both teachers at different times in their careers, and so teaching is kind of in my blood.
Jazz music has evolved over time since its birth in New Orleans about a century ago, and has influenced a variety of sounds.
Well, jazz is a style of music which has changed over the course of its history. Started out, as we talked about tonight, as blues, we call roots music, and along the way it sort of appropriated a lot of other influences and innovated as well some style movements. So jazz evolved over a long time by sort of surviving by melding with different musical genres and styles. And today a lot of great jazz artists are working with electronica and software instruments and still keeping the sound very current. So,
Finally, Paul Spidell hopes that his outlook on music can provide a connection to his audience and believes that it can bring people together.
Music is sort of above all else, I think, a spiritual phenomenon, and you can see time and time again it brings people together in so many ways. I hope that our enthusiasm for it and our desire to bring the styles to them tonight, talk a little bit about blues, talk a little bit about jazz, provided a connection to them, not just with us and each other, but the history of the music as well.
And where can we find more information on what Paul Spidell has in store for the future?
We also have a website for the band, which is paulspidellband.com, and we usually put our biggest shows upcoming on that. It also has links to our bios, our history, previous CDs, all the traditional PR and media is on the website.
His latest album, Backline, is available now on his website. From the Burlington Public Library, I'm John Vias for BNEWS Weekly.
Thank you, John. Burlington is taking pride in its gold medal winning athletes from the past and recent past with 2 special ceremonies. On Saturday, September 29th at 1 p.m., there will be a special event in honor of Kevin O'Neill, a Burlington resident who in 1979 won a gold medal in the 50-meter dash in the International Summer Special Olympics in Brockport, New York. At the time, the town did not have a special recognition for O'Neill, and town leaders want to make it up to him 39 years later. O'Neill, who was 14 when he won the medal, also placed 4th in the standing broad jump event. He was one of 90 Special Olympians from Massachusetts to participate in that year's games. The International Summer Special Olympics features athletes from 37 countries who compete in a variety of events, including track and field, soccer, swimming, and gymnastics. The second ceremony will be held on Wednesday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. on the Burlington Town Common and will feature the unveiling of an Olympic plaque for 2018 women's hockey team member and Burlington resident Callie Flanagan. Callie's plaque will be joining other Burlington Olympians on the town's Olympic stone. Flanagan is the first gold medal winning Olympian from Burlington. She will be joined on the Common by Burlington's other Olympians, Peter and Kitty Carruthers, who won the silver medal in pairs figure skating in 1984, as well as Mark and Scott Fusco, who skated for the U.S. men's hockey team, and Gary Piantadosi, a member of the 1976 Olympic rowing team. In 2009, Flanagan played varsity hockey for Burlington High as an 8th grader. For high school, she attended the Nation Sports Academy in Lake Placid, New York, but returned to her native Burlington to graduate before going to Boston College. Refreshments and autographs at Town Hall after the ceremony. We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown in our weather center for the latest forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's happening in town.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at the weather for the next 7 days. And I know it's hard to believe. Here we are at the very end of September, looking into October already. So fall is certainly moving on pretty quickly. And as we start out our period on Friday, we're going to see temperatures that are going to be a little bit cooler than average. So maybe around 60, maybe in the low 60s. And unfortunately, this is going to bring with it another dose of some pretty substantial rain to the Burlington area. But as you can see, this time of the year, our temperatures are supposed to be in the mid-60s to upper 60s, so pretty nice around there. And of course, as we head towards this, look at this, October 4th already. Our temperature is still in the mid-60s, so we have plenty of really nice fall weather coming up. And of course, though, look at our sunrise and sunset times now. We actually have more darkness now than we do light, so that is definitely a sign of the season coming along. As we go through October, we're really going to notice that loss of daylight, especially as we get towards Halloween. But nothing to worry about like that so we won't worry about that right now. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what we're expecting for temperatures and precip the next 3 months. So looking ahead into the fall, looks like up here in the Burlington area in the northeast, going all the way down to Florida and out to the southwest, looks like we're experiencing and maybe going to be seeing above average precipitation. This is a little bit of indicative of what an El Nino weather pattern is. Now, I know we've spoken about that in past winters, and we're going to have to see if that pattern comes to fruition. But looking at this rainfall amount, that definitely looks like El Nino is going to be a factor as we head into the fall and getting in towards winter. Now, as we go ahead, we're going to look at the temperature outlook for the next 3 months, and this is probably something you're all going to really enjoy, especially if you're up here in New England, especially here in the Burlington area, or traveling out west. Actually, there's really almost no part of the country that's expecting either average or below average temperatures except for this little portion of the southeast here. So again, this looks like this is maybe an El Nino pattern setting up, but with temperatures like this, looks like we're going to have a fairly mild start and maybe even end of fall. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about those temperatures and precipitation that we're expecting in the Burlington area for the next 7 days at least. Again, starting out on Friday, looks like that sun that we've put in there might be a little bit optimistic. I think we're going to be doused with some pretty heavy rain, especially in the morning and into the lunchtime hour. And again, temperatures pretty cool and raw, winds coming in off of the water from the northeast and the east, and temperatures only maybe not even out of the upper 50s. So this 63 is pretty generous. But now, once we get into Saturday and Sunday, it looks like we have a picture-perfect fall weekend coming up in the area. Temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 60s, dry conditions, but kind of chilly at night. So if you're going out and around in the Burlington area coming up this weekend, make sure you have that jacket with you at night. Now then getting into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, and even pushing into the latter portion of the period, looks like we're going to be seeing some unsettled weather, and this is going to be due to a high-pressure area settling into us from Canada, and that's going to keep an easterly flow coming in over the warm ocean waters, so that's going to bring us a chance of some clouds and maybe showery conditions as we head towards the end of the period. But look at this, by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures well above average again, up into the low and maybe even by Thursday into the mid-70s, so warm weather still with us, that's for certain. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your Community Calendar. Come and donate your unused books. On Wednesday, October 3rd, from 1 to 4 p.m., the Friends of the Burlington Public Library will be having a book donation day. Items that will be accepted as donations are books, DVDs, and music CDs. For more information, call the library at 781-270-1690. Learn a little bit about the history of Burlington. On Thursday, October 4th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Historical Society will be having Rob Costa come by and talk about his 2 books. Rob is a longtime favorite with the Burlington Historical Society. He brings a new nuance to the ongoing saga of Burlington. He is also the author of a 2001 publication, Images of America. The meeting will be held in the Murray Kelly Room at the Human Services Building. Everyone is welcome and the event is free. Enjoy a relaxing trip in Connecticut. On Saturday, October 6th, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having a day trip on the Essex Steam Train and Connecticut River Cruise. The unique train and river cruise connection takes you through a 10-mile scenic ride aboard an authentic 19th century steam train. Everyone is welcome. Pre-registration is required. The cost per person is $112 per person. To register, visit burlingtonrecreation.org or call 270-1695. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this has been your Community Calendar.
Thank you, Maddie, and thank you, Peter. The Burlington Red Devils are battling hard this fall sports season. We now go to BNEWS sports reporter Matt DiMarzio for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, this is Matt DiMarzio here for your weekly sports report. The fall sports season is off and running at Burlington High, and there are already plenty of exciting things to talk about. The BHS football team has already improved on its entire 2017 season. The Red Devils opened the season with exciting victories over Bedford and Woburn before falling to Stoneham in a Middlesex League Freedom Division showdown. We have some highlights from last week's matchup. Let's check them out.
Last Friday night, the Burlington Red Devils faced off against the Stoneham Spartans in a matchup that decided the division's supremacy and who moved on to 3-0. In the first two quarters, the Burlington defense found it too difficult to stop running back Chris Argiopoulos, who led his team to a 22-0 score before the end of the second quarter. The Red Devils made their way onto the board late in the second, with the quarterback Kyle Pena throwing deep downfield to wide receiver Pat O'Halloran for a 98-yard touchdown reception. First possession in the third, Kyle Pena airs it out for Jake McCauley, who found his way into the end zone for a 55-yard touchdown reception. The Spartans quickly answered with another touchdown by Stoneham's running back Chris Argiopoulos, who ran straight to the end zone for a Spartans score, 30-14. Later in the fourth, the Spartans kept pouring it on with two more touchdowns on the board, ending the game with a final score of 44-14 Stoneham. In the end, the Burlington Red Devils came out of this one with their first loss of the season. This week, they head on home to take on the Watertown Red Raiders in front of their home crowd on Friday night at 7 p.m.
Stoneham is one of the top teams in the entire state, so Burlington is still in the midst of a solid early season run as they play Watertown at home on Friday night at 7 p.m. The boys cross-country team is also underway with a pair of victories to start the year. In the first two races, senior Rishi Prakash has finished in first place by a lot. Prakash is one of the area's top long-distance runners and should have a big fall for the Devils. The most exciting news might have come on Monday on the golf course, as Burlington won the Middlesex League shootout and senior Sean Hurley was the individual champion at the event. The shootout is a tournament pitting all of the league's top golfers against one another. Usually the best news for the golfers is that they get the day off from school to participate. But this year, Burlington had even better news on the course. The Burlington High Athletic Hall of Fame is hosting its latest banquet on Thursday, October 4th at the Cafe Escadrille in Burlington. Call 781-273-7077 for more information or to purchase tickets. This year's class of inductees is a tremendous one and includes the 2006 BHS football team that won the Middlesex League title. Tony Cedrone and Tony DeSimone are also being honored as benefactors for helping the town save the Burlington Ice Palace way back in 1986. That is all for your weekly sports report. I'm Matt DiMarzio, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Matt. Another week, another photo to highlight. This week, we have a photo of a road trip that would make anyone nostalgic for the past. It was sent in by Carolyn Tarantino and shows a line of antique cars in a rear side view mirror. Carolyn said she took it while reflecting on an enjoyable weekend with great friends while coming home from an Old Orchard Beach antique car show. Thanks for the photo, Carolyn. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside your own door, or even photos of your family members and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line, Photo of the Week. Well, that's it for this week's edition of BNEWS Weekly. I'm Linda McNamee. Have a great week, and I'll see you around town. Good night.